Have you ever been so good at a thing that the catch-22 is that's the only thing that people want you to do? But guess what? We're going to get into it today here on TC Talks because we're going to discover that you are more than that. Let's get into it.
We got the passion, we got the drive, regular people living real lives. And this is TC Talks. This is TC Talks. This is TC Talks. And this is TC.
Hey, what's up, good people? TC here with another episode of TC Talks. We're on episode 11, and we're going to talk about today that you are more than that. But before we get into that, I just want to welcome back all the returning viewers and our new viewers. You know what to do to get on the train of TC Tribe. The only thing you got to do is subscribe. Well, I just like the way I love that rhymes. But anyway, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and every time new and fresh content drops, you will be one of the first ones to be notified. I appreciate you. And if you haven't done this, if you've been enjoying the TC Talks podcast, share it with a family member, friend, co-worker, or neighbor, because we get into good stuff here on TC Talks. Remember, we just regular people living real lives. There you go again, hitting that note, man. I appreciate y'all. Episode 11. Man, listen, if you was on episode 10, we celebrated episode 10 because we remember that, you know, only less than 20% of people get past episode 3 when they're recording podcasts. Well, we made it, y'all. We had episode 11. Yeah, episode 11. My lovely wife joined me on episode 10, man. She just knocked it out the ballpark. I'm so glad she was able to come on with me to celebrate that milestone of TC Talks podcast. But yeah, man, we got a good one for you today here on episode 11. You are more than that. Yep. Typecasting. Have you been a victim of that? And maybe some of us have been victims of it, and we don't even realize that we've been victims of that because what we're good and great at, we've been given that so long that we have been, watch this, inoculated from the idea or even the movement that people have been holding us in that particular box because it's been a benefit to them. Watch this. Maybe we've been a boxed benefit, and we don't even know it. But we're going to talk about that today. We're going to converse because that's a frustration point for me. I gotta admit that is a frustration point for me, especially being a pastor. It is a frustration point, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to speak from a pastoral perspective today. I know you're not a pastor. You might not even go to church, but I guarantee you that this will help you, whatever context that you're in, you know, because, again, we're just regular people living real lives. But I saw an interview a couple of weeks ago on Alfonso Ribeiro. If you don't know who he is, that was Carlton on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And everybody knows the Carlton, you know, dance that he was famous for, and also, you know, his character, you know, on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And he said something that really, man, hit home for me. And I thought it was worth, you know, doing an episode on. He said, I did Carlton so well that people could not see me as anything else. God, and this is what kicked me in the head. He said, what do you do when what you do is so great you can't do anything else? I was like, yo, that is crazy. And again, I don't think that Alfonso Ribeiro is the only one that suffered from that. You know, even though he was an actor and on mainstream television, I think a lot of us suffer from that in everyday relationships that we are a part of and the roles that we play, whether it's on the job, whether it's in the family, whether it's through friendship or just other social activities that we're involved in and we don't even know about it. What I want to talk about today so we can bring awareness to it so that you can no longer be what I like to call a boxed benefit for the people who are the benefactors of the thing that you're good at. And that's what they want to keep you doing because they are the benefactors of your greatness while you're yet sitting in a place of frustration. Yeah. I've been there. I've been there because I'm telling you, to break out of that typecast prison, that's, you heard me, typecast prison. I hope our conversation today helps you to unlock the cage of the typecast prison that, watch this, that the benefactors of your greatness has put you in, probably unbeknownst to them and probably even unbeknownst to you. But yeah, it's time to get out of that because you are more than that. I can't say that enough. Just want to talk about that just a little bit. Again, as we get into this conversation, it's great. If you, I want to remind you, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, because we're gonna have a great conversation like this, man, all season long, right here on TC Talks. Yeah. My trusty dusty notes. Got it. I got it right here. Trusty dusty notes. I appreciate you. But I told y'all for a little bit. I've been pastoring. October will be, guess what? 22 years I will be pastoring. But guess what? I was somebody else before I became a pastor. I was in information technology for 17 years. I worked in corporate America. I was a team leader. I was a supervisor. I worked on organizational projects within information technology infrastructure. We had plans, we had rollouts, we had migrations, we had clients, we had desktops we had to support, man. We had machines that we had to roll out. We had images that we had to create to roll out on a 50,000 user migration across 2 countries. Man, so I did other things before I pastored. But it is amazing to me that when I became a pastor, that people seemingly forgot that I was more than just a person that can preach, pray, and prophesy. Yeah. So anyway, I wrote this note down, man, because as a pastor, people are comfortable with your anointing until it starts generating a profit. No, I'm not talking about paying for a message and paying for a sermon. That's not what I'm saying. Because the anointing is just a word for enablement. It's God's divine enablement for you to be able to do what you do. And so they're okay with your anointing as long as you're laying hands and praying for them and they're coming out of their situation and their quagmire of dismay. They're okay with that. But when the anointing starts generating a profit for the person that God has anointed, then it becomes problematic. The moment something is built beyond the pulpit, it gets criticized. Did you hear me? It gets criticized. Crazy part about it, and maybe I don't know if you're in ministry or you're a pastor or something like that, but even if not, isn't it crazy that you can teach other people to get better and to increase their profits, but as soon as you do what you're teaching others, then you become vilified? Woo, crazy, isn't it? Oh my God. So anyway, I want to help. I'm talking to myself too. Y'all hear me? I'm having a conversation with TC too. So it's like I'm sitting here recording the podcast for you, but it's like I'm talking to myself, listening to my own podcast. I know that, but yeah, it's cool with me. But check this out. I told y'all this was a frustration point for me because I want to help other people who may have experienced this or are experiencing this right now, but you got to get out of that place of frustration because you are more than just that one thing. Here it is. And here's, as a pastor, the truth is a pastoral calling and entrepreneurial capacity, watch this, they're not in conflict, but they're covenant partners. A pastoral calling and an entrepreneurial capacity is not in conflict. They are covenant partners. So maybe you're not a pastor, but maybe you, like, you attend church and you volunteer for the church, or you do something significant within the church, and people see that what you do benefits the church, and they just want to hold you to that. Or on your job, that, man, you are one of the greatest administrative assistants that the company has ever had. I mean, that you get out the communications on time, that you type 102 words a minute, that you're proficient in getting the task done, and they want to hold you to that and say that's the only thing that you'll be. You see a job come available online, and you see it posted, and you want to go for that position, and watch this, the people who you are a benefactor or benefiting from your greatness as an administrative assistant, they're like, no, I don't know if you'll fit well there, because they will dumb down your potential, because currently they're reaping the benefits from what you do, and they don't want that to change. While yet you're sitting there saying, man, that there's more in me besides 102 words a minute. There's more in me than sending emails. There's more in me than answering phones. But yet the people you're answering the phones for, sending the emails on behalf of, and typing the letters on behalf of, they're the benefactors of your greatness in that area. But you got to know, like you know your name, you are more than that. And that, what I'm talking about, just does not pertain to administrative assistants or people in ministry. It pertains to a plethora of contexts. So whatever your context is, apply this to that. Because one thing that I believe that we all have in common, no matter what context it is, whether it's corporate, whether it's secular or sacred, we frustrated. Yeah, because you are more than that. Remember I told you, as a pastor, the pastoral calling and the entrepreneurial capacity, they are not in conflict. They're covenant partners. Because watch this. Because the entrepreneurial capacity simply unlocks the infrastructure to sustain and scale ministry impact. I'm discovering now, it took me 22 years to do this, that the more entrepreneurial I allow myself to be and to become, the greater the effectiveness or the efficacy of the ministry becomes. Because I'm realizing, watch this, that they're not in conflict with each other, but now they're complementing each other. Like, my message, my sermon preparation seemingly has gotten better because I'm thinking literally, watch this, with both sides of the brain, if that makes any sense. I'm just not. I'm also the Bible. I'm using the Bible, but along with the Bible, there is business material that has biblical principles that I can speak in a businesswoman or businessman's language. And watch this, I'm still doing ministry, even on the side of the entrepreneur, while yet still being a pastor. So instead of trying to dumb down one and embrace the other, I embrace both. And the efficacy of me as an individual, the impact that I'm making, is continually rising. So I want you to embrace that. I want you to embrace that. I want you to embrace that. You don't have to get rid of one to embrace the other. But you know what? One just simply feeds the other. That makes sense? I hope it does. Say that for the people in the back. One simply feeds the other. Yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. And then this is what I found out, is that people often typecast you based on how they met you. Yep, they often lock you in based on how they met you. And if you always run something, man, you remember when, I remember when you doing something, man, you so crazy, you this, you that, you so, I was a jokester in high school, I'm funny, I'm kind of comedic now, to be quite honest with you. And sometimes when people see me who have not seen me in quite a while, I'm 50 years old. And sometimes people come up to me referencing something when I was 18. Are you kidding me? Man, that's a long time ago. I have new skin cells 3 times over since then. So if my skin cells are new, you definitely know that my ideology and my psychology has shifted. Yeah, so you can't hold me to that. And man, oh, you can't allow people to hold you to how they met you. But watch this, because the memory of you to them is the greatest benefit, and they'll try to keep you at that level of benefit so they can continue to be the benefactors of you. But they don't realize you've evolved. You've changed. Anything that's alive, if you living and watching this, I know you're alive. You breathing in and out. You are alive. And if you're living, you should be growing. And if you're growing, can't nobody hold you to where you used to be. You better break out of that box, that benefit box that they've been trying to keep you in. And when I say break out the box, let pump the brakes. I'm not saying that you got to go radical, that you got to say, hey, this is me and this and become all offensive and that's not what I'm saying. But you can be just as calm and peaceful, and you can still allow people to see that I'm not that anymore. As a matter of fact, one of the greatest practical steps that you can do to breaking out of the typecast prison is showing people that you're good at more than one thing. And I'm not showing you to prove to you that I'm good at more than one, but I'm going to do this, and I'm going to let the success of this speak for itself to let you know that I'm more than just that. Does that make any sense? Yeah, yeah. I'm more than just that. Right now, I am an engineering team, editing team, recording team of one. And I'm not doing this to prove to people that I can do this by myself. I'm doing this to let people know it's possible that you can do it by yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah. I want this experience to empower and to educate, watch this, and to expose somebody so they can go and execute on the greatest level of their capacity. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, man. This is good to me. Yeah, let me continue to move on. So people often typecast you based on how they met you. And if that is the current reality that you're facing or living in, watch this. This makes their view of you outdated. What? Man, when I wrote this down, the grossest thing I probably could think of is expired milk. Oh God. Ooh, that is gross. And I like cereal too, man. Man, have you ever just had a good taste for some cereal? And you had a full box of cereal and you went in there and opened up the milk and you realized, man, the date was expired and you can't use that. What do you do with outdated stuff? You throw it away. I can't use that anymore. I got an uncle, man, who loves to thrift shop. Not gonna call his name. He might be watching the podcast. Loves to thrift shop, and I never forget. We went to a pawn shop, and he saw a soundboard in the pawn shop. And man, that soundboard was so old. It had like resistors and I know I'm dating myself, but it was a realistic soundboard. No, I'm not saying realistic as it was real. It was absolutely real, but that was the brand, realistic. And he wanted to put that into a modern structure. I was like, man, if you don't leave that thing there because it's outdated, the technology is outdated, the connections are outdated, the power ratings are outdated, so we can't use that. This cannot work with something that is up to date. So listen, when somebody typecasts you on how they met you years ago, weeks ago, months ago, whatever it is, and man, you've been upgraded since then. The level, things that you've been exposed to, the things that you've been educated on, the things that you probably executed, the successes and the wins. You've had kids by now. You've gotten married by now. You bought 2 houses by now. Some of you probably retired, and they're still trying to hold you to that. No, their view of you is outdated. So watch this. You don't have to change. They just need to upgrade how they see you. Man. And here it is. Here's a key, y'all. Real relationships are not a one and done stop. Listen to me. Real relationships are not a one and done stop. So you can't hold me to how you met me. That's a one and done stop. But real relationships, they're a lifelong journey of growth, grace, and intentional connection. Watch this. If you're going to be in a relationship with me, we're going on a journey together. Friends, we're going on a journey together. So you can't hold me how you met me, but you have to allow me to grow. I have to allow you to grow. And then watch this. And on our growth journey, we might make some mistakes. We might not dot every I nor cross every T. But along our journey, you're going to give me grace. I'm going to give you grace on the journey. And then watch this. And while we're on this lifelong journey, we're making significant connections. I see you as you grow. You see me as I grow. Just like you know now, nobody hardly has a landline in their phone anymore. I'm in their home anymore. And so if you want to get in contact with somebody, well, I'm not with those cell phones. I don't want nobody's cell phone. Well, you must not want to talk to anybody because there are a few people that have landline phones now. And so if you want to get up to date with connecting with people, you probably want to get a cell phone and get their cell number. That's called upgrading and updating your view of society. Same way we have to update and upgrade our view of people. If somebody made a bad choice, bad mistake, watch this, or intentional, but they didn't know that their acts were going to produce that type of negative resistance in the relationship, but they become aware of it months later, years later, that's the grace of the journey. I've been there. I've done some stuff. I didn't know that it was going to affect people the way that it did. But now that I know, I learned from it. I grew from it. And I hope that the people will allow me to grow from it. But I'm going to grow from it because I'm not going to be in that box of benefits or that benefit that's boxed in. Make sense? Cool. Here it is. Check this out. If you're not willing to grow with someone, you're not really in a relationship. You're just sharing a moment. Good God. If you're not willing to grow with someone, it's not really a relationship. You're just simply sharing a moment. I'm so thankful that I have people in my life that allow me to grow. That they didn't hold me to the 10-year-old that just played baseball, and they didn't hold me to the 9th grader that played the saxophone. They didn't hold me, watch this, to the one who started a church at 26 years old. They've allowed me to grow and to evolve. And they've seen the benefits of being in a relationship with me, and I've seen the benefits of being in a relationship with them. Whether it's pastor parishioner, whether it's my family, whether it's a friend, associate. Yeah. So if you're not willing to allow somebody to grow, they're not allowing you to grow, it's not a relationship at all. You're just simply sharing a moment. And you need to know the difference. All right. So here it is, y'all. Let me just say this because my time is about out. This typecast prison is real. It's absolutely real. And you're not being arrogant because you're deciding to free yourself from it. You're just embracing, watch this, the abilities that you've been carrying the entire time. Just because they didn't see it doesn't mean you don't possess it. And now it's time to practice what you knew that you've been possessing the entire time. And unfortunately, when you break out of this typecast prison, there are some people who are only used to seeing you in a cell, and they cannot adjust to you being a free woman or a free man flowing in your capabilities. And watch this, filled to your capacity. Because you know why? You are more than that. Period. If you ain't heard it nowhere else, you heard it here first on TC Talks. Listen, man, I hope this conversation, oh, ladies too, conversation, man, it's just figure speech, has helped you. God knows it has helped me. I feel like just laying back on the couch if I had one here on the set, but I might not want to do that. But I appreciate you so much, and I hope this conversation has helped give you the key to get out of that typecast prison and to realize and to live in a reality, a conscious reality, that you are more than that. All right, y'all, that's my time. But before I go, remember, live a life so that others can say. Now that right there, me and you, that is hope in motion. Have a great day, my friends. Until the next episode, I'll talk to you soon.